Ah, dearie, dearie me. In all honesty, we got exactly what we deserved. I even feel like Leeds could have potentially won the game with the amount of chances that they had. But when it happens in such a manner, such poor decision making at that stage of the game, it obviously hurts even more. But it's really disappointing. I feel like it started really brightly. It's got the goal really early, but that was it. That was all we really offered, and then for 75 minutes, we had nothing going forward. It was a long punt up to Jimenez, who got kicked to pieces today, but held the ball up fairly well. But it was extremely disjointed. I thought the midfield two of Dendoncker and Moutinho didn't work, which obviously we all know that anyway. I thought Dendoncker was very, very poor, very, very sloppy. Every pass was short. And obviously Moutinho looked very leggy at 65, 70 minutes, crying out for Neves to come on because we couldn't control the midfield whatsoever. But I thought Aït-Nouri had a half decent game. Looked good going forward defensively again. A little bit there for him to work on, which we know a young player. But I don't know why we've just sat back and invited pressure on from the first goal. I get that over time and towards the end of the game, you do shut the shop a bit more, and you do become a little bit more defensive and more rigid. But it was almost instantly, and I don't get that. I think questions have got to be asked for Bruno about that, because if that's a tactic and it was wrong, we can all see that was wrong. But it's a point on the board. We could have lost that game, but to be 1-0 up for so long, you're obviously bitterly disappointed. I am. The penalty's soft, but Semedo, he's done this a couple of times now. He did brilliantly for the goal. And after what's been a poor season for him, you think, you know what, he's done well for the goal there. Maybe he's going to kick on from there. But no, he lets himself down with a silly tackle. Like, you know, you've only got to put your hand on him, he's going down, and give the referee no choice, really. They're not going to overturn that because it's not clear and obvious. But it's disappointing, really, really disappointing to lose in that manner. And on to Everton now. We're at 90th minute, we were fourth. Thinking, bloody hell, like, we're climbing the table here. I know there's other teams got to play still. We're now 10th. It's just the way we've lost that. But we got exactly what we deserved. Invited pressure, tactics all wrong. Bruno has to be better, mate. But it's still 3 wins and a draw from the last 4. So the overall picture is positive. Still not playing very well, but it's a stinker.
Leeds 1, Wolves 1, absolute sucker punch. I'm sure everyone on here is going to come out and say the same thing. Invited the pressure on pretty much from when we scored. Really, really disappointing not to take 3 points, because you just look where that would have put us, and, you know, the momentum we would have had going into that run of fixtures that we've got, where, you know, you can hope that we're going to get a decent run going. Yeah, just frustrating. I've got to be honest, I'm not convinced it was actually a penalty. I think it's one of them. If the referee doesn't give it, I don't think VAR gives it. But there's probably not enough there for VAR to overturn it. But disappointing. It's a shame, really, because I thought Semedo's actually been playing really well recently. I know that's not necessarily a popular opinion. I think he did obviously really well for the goal today. But yeah, we just invited the pressure on for a good 45 minutes. You know, really, really frustrating. I think if we beat Everton next week, you'd probably say, and to be honest with you, before the game, you'd have probably taken a point. But to be, you know, winning in the 94th minute to give away a penalty like that, it feels like a defeat. But as I was going to go on to say, you know, if you were to take 3 points off Everton, who have obviously just been absolutely tanked at home, you know, they should be there for the taking next week. If you were to say 4 points from Everton and Leeds, then, you know, you'd accept that. I think you know, the changes could have come earlier as well in the second half. I think the game was crying out for Neves. I don't think Dendoncker was particularly good. I think Neves, you know, he could have come on and even gone into a three-man midfield. Maybe would have invited a bit more pressure on. But, you know, Leeds, particularly when Rafinha went off, you know, he was their main man in the first half, and you felt like everything was coming through him. And when he went off, I thought the momentum was gonna change. But yeah, disappointing. I thought Aït-Nouri played really well. I think it was really good to see him in the starting lineup. Don't know what the issue is with Marcel, but you'd imagine that's probably going to be a more permanent change now, given the way he's played. But yeah, disappointing. It felt, I don't want to sort of dwell on it too much, but it did feel a little bit like, I'm going to say Nuno in the second half, just inviting that pressure on. Yeah, disappointing. Sarr made a really good save, but that was, to be honest with you, that was the only save he had to make for all Leeds sort of dominance territory-wise. But yeah, disappointing. As I say, feels like a defeat, but onwards and upwards. If we get the win next week, it makes up for it. And I suppose you look what we did to Villa last week. You could probably say karma's come and got us a little bit, but yeah, not the end of the world.
For 45 fucking minutes, we were holding back, trying to contain a Leeds team which is so good at attacking. Who'd have thought we concede a last-minute goal? It's written in the stars. It's just frustrating more than anything. Final score, obviously, Leeds United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Given the circumstances of the game, it is, 2 points dropped. But the way we performed, it's a good point, which is quite worrying considering how poor we played after we scored. First half, we were straight in Leeds United's faces. We were showing them no respect. We was pressing them high up the pitch. And you could almost tell that we was actually bringing the game towards Leeds, because as soon as we ran at Leeds' defence, they absolutely crapped themselves. And you kind of could tell that we was going to create opportunities. It was a case of when we were going to create the opportunities and if we were going to take the opportunity that came to us. Thankfully, we did, because Hwang, who for me, it's absolutely stupid if we don't sign him now. Brilliant finish. The fact is, it was just good play from Jimenez originally to start to get the free kick. Cody with a decent ball on there. Jimenez again, kind of just shielding the defender off to his side. And then you got Semedo, who just beats his man like he's not even there. Just after that then, it was just a good ball in. Jimenez it's just a bit of a scramble. And then Hwang, we've missed a player like Hwang. Just someone who's going to be there in the right place at the right time just to put that right finish into the back of the net. And it was absolutely superb. After that, we pushed for a little bit, but then as soon as it hit like the 35-minute mark, we kind of just invited pressure on Leeds, and we just didn't really look like we was having a clue. In the midfield area, Rafinha was absolutely killing the midfield area. He was just running into the midfield areas like we weren't even there. I mean, Moutinho and Dendoncker does not need to be playing as a midfield partnership together. I mean, Jean Moutinho shouldn't be playing for Wolves full stop, to be quite honest with you. As much as he, was really, really good in one season, for the last, 2 seasons and a half, he's been absolutely useless. And for me, it just begs the question, why the hell did we get rid of Gibbs White? Because I think Gibbs White would have performed a better performance than what Jean Moutinho did, to be quite honest with you. Second half, you knew where the problems lied in the first half. Changes have to be made. Ruben Neves has to be playing because Ruben Neves is our best midfielder. And I don't really think it's open for debate. He is better than Dendoncker in every way, shape or form. And he is an upgrade on Jean Moutinho. So it begs the question, after he was the match winner against Villa, why the hell are we not playing him? But the way he was playing in the second half, it just looked like we were going to concede. Joe Gilhart came on. He ran past our defence twice. And as soon as Joe Gilhart basically decided that he was, after that one opportunity where it was a good save from Sarr, he got the confidence just to run at our defence, which led to the penalty incident. Because he'd done it another time before that, and we actually cut it out really, really well. And then just the third opportunity, I mean, Semedo, he had a good game. He had a really, really good game. Arguably, for me, he was one of the best players that was on the pitch today. But it was a stupid mistake. And the thing is, a lot of people giving criticism for his defensive ability. And for me, I've not really been critical of that, because for me this season, he's actually been very good defensively. But that was just stupid from him. That was really, really bad. And essentially, you're just relying on a goalkeeper just to try and save something and just, hope for the best, to be quite honest with you. But it's just an absolute shambles, because we know where the problems lie. Even before this game, and even before the season started, we knew that midfield needs to be strengthened. We know defence needs to be strengthened. And those are the two areas that got horrendously exposed. Let's not forget, this is not a Leeds United side that in any sort of form at all. This is one win all season. And we play to our opponent's level. We've done that in every single game this season. Against the good teams, we've played so well. Against the not so good teams, the teams that, you look on paper and think, oh, Wolves will probably win this, or on form. Oh yeah, Wolves will probably get a result against them. We've played to their level, and we've not exactly looked good in that department. But for me, it's just more frustration. The way that we played today, 1 point's a good point, but given the fact of the circumstances of the game, it's 2 points dropped, and I think Lage made his substitutions way too late. I mean, Podence just didn't make a difference as soon as he came on, but... You know, we said after Villa, we needed a performance where, you know, if we're not going to build for the rest of our season, then I don't know if we ever will. And even then, in the games before that, I didn't exactly think that, you know, we did enough to win the game, but that was about it. And I don't really think it signs that... I think it signs that we can get better, but I don't think we will get better, unfortunately. Anyway, thanks for having me on Talking Wolves, and I've tried my best to not be negative, but... You know, it's one of them, unfortunately. Cheers, lads.
Coming away from Ellen Road quickly and with a draw. Strange game today. Started okay. They played well for about 15 minutes until we scored. Some lovely build-up play from some of the players, Nelson Semedo especially. But ever since the goal, things just seemed to stop. The game got a bit scrappy. It was very much trying to find the front men or trying to get the ball into midfield. Nothing was coming. Lots of times the ball was going wayward from both teams, I'd say. Got us into half time. I thought, okay, we'll just, you know, take it as that, come out second half and push on a bit. But that never seemed to happen. We spent, I'd like to say, about 75, 80 minutes of the game sat back, bringing on the pressure, and ultimately Leeds deserved their goal, if not another one. I feel like we struggled to get anything going with the midfield. I didn't think Dendoncker had a very good day at all. Traore, some good runs again, but ultimately not enough for us at the end of the day. On a plus, some good performances today, I thought, from Saiss especially. Saiss played really well today. Kilman as well had another good game. I thought Aït-Nouri did okay for the time he was on the pitch. He does get lost at some points, but very strange game. Leeds pushed and pushed and pushed, and in the end, they got their goal from the penalty. I've not seen the penalty back, so I can't say if it was a penalty or not. But even so, when you're leading a game for 80 odd minutes and you've defended, you know, okay for those 80 minutes, you need to find it within you to hold on. And we've made a silly challenge at the end of the game with Semedo, who in the second half didn't have much to do until he came over to the left back side. And ever since then, he seemed to struggle a bit. And unlucky for Jose Sarr had to concede today, but once again he's given us a good chance to stay in the game with some big saves. So yeah, ultimately I'm a bit disappointed, but if you'd have told me 4 points out of the last 2 games, I'd have snatched your hand off at the start of the day. It's just such a shame in the way that we've lost the game and couldn't quite hold on. Drew the game and we just couldn't hold on. So on to Everton Monday under the lights at Molineux. Hopefully we can have a better performance, because I feel like we've seen now, yes, we're winning games or have won games. The performances aren't quite there for me at the moment. I'd just like to see us play a bit more football and, you know, create the chances that we created in the first 3 games that we had and didn't manage to score. So yeah, we move on to Monday. Hopefully a better performance and we can get another win on Monday night. Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Leeds 1, Wolves 1. Unacceptable result, really. That really shouldn't have been at all 1-1. We arguably could have lost if Leeds weren't so wasteful. We'll go lineup first. I was happy to see Aït-Nouri in the starting lineup. Back 3, fine. Aït-Nouri, cool. Oh yeah, Bolly being out again. This shows that we just desperately need players in January. Matinho and Dunk was weird, but I was, you know, I'll give it a chance. Maybe it's good, but evidently weren't. Dunk played okay, in my opinion. Dunk played okay. He's really good at not really good. He's useful at winning the ball back, and Coutinho did okay as well. Wing backs, Nori was a massive breath of fresh air going forward. Semedo was okay. Just that penalty was. Some people calling it soft, but under these rules, it is like a proper penalty. Like, that is a textbook penalty. But yeah, so at the start we were really shaky. Just invited them a lot. Didn't really find our place in the game. And then we scored off of a counter-attack, which was really, really well made, honestly. The cross from Semedo was great. And I think it deflected off a Leeds player from Raul, and then went to Hwang, who is doing God's work right now. But for that whole game, it just reminded me of Nuno, like last season, just sitting back, not doing much. I can't remember other than I think we had about like 4 or 5 shots on target. We didn't really look threatening going forward, and we sort of kind of had trouble linking our defensive midfield to our attack, because I remember all of Leeds set pieces, we were behind the ball all the way. It's like every single player was behind the ball. And we just sat back and we were hoofing the ball forward with no one in front. Like, we were scrambling for the ball a lot. In that second half especially, like, Leeds would just come at us and we would forget to clear it. We'd get it and like scramble for it, or yeah, in the first half, like defensively, we were sort of all over the shop. In that first half, Cody kept getting dragged out of position. Saiss was pretty okay. Like I'd give him, he had a good game. Kilman, golden boy right now, and rightfully so. Neves was brought on too late. I don't agree with the substitutions that Lage made. I don't think that Hoover should have come on. And unless it was for Nori, who was injured, who I don't really remember if he was injured or not. But I think Silva should have come on, definitely. Silva, I don't get why Bruno doesn't play Silva, or even put him on, or start him, or whatever. He plays him in the under-23s games. But I definitely think Silva needs a bit more game time. And yeah, just overall, it was just disappointing to see just how spineless our team were. And yeah, that penalty was just painful, because with the quality that we have in our squad and how Bruno wants to play, we should be beating Leeds by about 5 or 6, because Leeds are doing terribly right now. Probably going through a second season syndrome. Bielsa's looking sort of desperate, I guess, because their style of play at Leeds is really sporadic. Like, they're playing super narrow, but we tried to use the wide areas. However, every time Nori would get on the ball, Semedo would get on the ball, there'd be no one in the box to cross it into. Like, Nori kept having to cut inside, which he did succeed a lot at, but we can't really have that as our source of, goals, because we have Raul and Hwang, and Podence had a shot, probably should have passed it or whatever, but really painful, really, really unacceptable result. Everton next week, who just got spanked 5-2, I just saw, by Watford, so maybe we can catch him out on a bad form. But overall, poor performance from us today. Really, really, really poor. I guess I should be happy with a point at least. But if you think about it, last season with Nuno, we did the double over them, 2-1 nils. But with Bruno, a more attacking, more free-flowing manager, we draw 1-1. That Gelhardt guy, he really, really, really changed the game around. I have to give props to him because he revived Leeds, and you could make an excuse of, the atmosphere of Leeds because, the atmosphere is pretty good, like egging them on, but so was ours. Yeah. I can see why everyone hates Leeds now. I remember when Cody got smacked with the ball, it was Rodrigo who had a shot and Cody went down because he hit his head, and then everyone's booing Cody for being down. Come on. But yeah, poor result, poor performance. Bruno needs to give him a big smack in the changing room. On to next week.